Therefore, O Arjuna, surrendering all your work onto me, with mind intent on me, and without desire for gain and free from egoism and lethargy, fight. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Purport. This verse clearly indicates the purpose of the Bhagavad Gita. The Lord instructs that one has to become fully Krishna conscious to discharge duties as if in military discipline. Such an injunction may make things a little difficult. Nevertheless, duties must be carried out with dependence on Krishna, because that is constitutional position of the living entity. The living entity cannot be happy independent of the cooperation of the Supreme Lord, because the eternal constitutional position of the living entity is to become subordinate to the desire of the Lord. Arjuna was therefore ordered by Sri Krishna to fight as if the Lord were his military commander. One has to sacrifice everything for the good will of the Supreme Lord, and at the same time discharge prescribed duties without claiming proprietorship. Arjuna did not have to consider the order of the Lord, he had only to execute his order. The Supreme Lord is the soul of all souls. Therefore, one who depends solely and wholly on the Supreme Soul without personal consideration, and in other words, one who is fully Krishna conscious, is called Adhyatma Chetasa. Nirasihi means that one has to act on the order of the Master. Nor should one ever expect fruitive results. The cashier may count millions of dollars for his employer, but he does not claim a cent for himself. Similarly, one has to realize that nothing in the world belongs to any individual person, but that everything belongs to the Supreme Lord. That is the real purport of Mai and or onto me. And when one acts in such Krishna consciousness, certainly he does not claim proprietorship over anything. This consciousness is called nirmama, or nothing is mine. And if there is any reluctance to execute such an stern order which is without consideration of so-called kinsmen in the bodily relationship, that reluctance should be thrown off. In this way, one may become vigata jwaraha, or without feverish mentality or lethargy. Everyone, according to his quality and position, has a particular type of work to discharge, and all such duties may be discharged in Krishna consciousness as described above. That will lead one to the path of liberation. So thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. So finally Krishna is concluding something here. He says therefore. Therefore means I have told you so many things. Now I am concluding something. So this conclusion is that Mai sarvani karmani Sanyasya dhyatva chetasa nirasir nirmamo bhutva yudyasva vigata juraha. It means Mai means onto me, Sarvani means Sarvani karmani. Karmani means all the activities, all sorts of activities. So what we should do with all sorts of activity? Mai onto me, should dedicate it to me. Sanyasya, completely. Adhyatma means with full knowledge of the self. Chetasa nirasir nirmamaha. Nirasihi means without desire for profit. So while we do our activity, we should not desire for any profit, and we should completely dedicate it for the pleasure of Supreme Lord. So that should be Chetasaha, that should be our consciousness. Adhyatma Chetasaha, with full knowledge of self, with that kind of consciousness. Nirasir nirmamaha bhutva yudvassa vikata jwaraha. Nirmama means without ownership. We should not even develop any kind of ownership. Oh, this belongs to me, and I am giving it to Krishna. There is two different things. That I am giving it to Krishna because it was his, or it was mine, but I am giving it to Krishna. So, in both the situation, things seems to be similar, but they are different. In case one, I am accepting that it was never mine. In case A, I am pre-assuming that it belonged to me and I am giving it to Krishna. So Krishna is telling we should not even have that second case. Even that ownership we should not have. We should be nirmamaha. Bhutva yudvassa vigata jwaraha. In that mood, in that being, in that consciousness, what you should do? You should yuddhaswaha. You should fight. And you should fight without being lethargic. Vigata jwaraha. Without being lethargic. So here if you analyze Krishna, what Prabhupada writes in the translation, that there are 4 different things which are coming out in this verse. First thing is that we should surrender all our work onto him by giving the result to him. That is first aspect. With mind intent onto him. Our mind should also be, that should be our mind intention. Note that mind intention was something else and externally I am giving it to Krishna. That should not be the case. Without desire for gain. This desire we have of gaining something, that should also not be there. That I am giving it to Krishna to desire to have something for me. No, that also we should not have. And free from egoism. We should not have that ego also. That I am the doer or I am doing something. So that also should not be present in our consciousness. So if you see 4 things are, if you can help me recollect. First is that we should be free from egoism. We should be free from egoism. We should be free from desire for gain. Our mind should intend on Krishna and the results of the work should be surrendered onto him. So these 4 instructions Krishna is concluding. Therefore you should do that. So let us understand holistically why Krishna is bringing these 4 items. What is the reason behind it? Why he is telling that, why he is bringing out ego, that you should be without ego. He could have told, okay, you give everything to me, that's all. But why is he talking about mind? Why is he talking about desire? Why is he talking about that egoism? Why? Because there's a great science behind it. So let us understand that science behind all these different components of ourselves and why Krishna is bringing all of them together and concluding like this. And how does it impacts us? So what happens is that we understand that we have this gross body and we have the subtle body. So gross body, as you know, that which we can see through our eyes, this bodily structure, that I am male, female or whatever, that is a gross body, which is made up of earth, water, fire, air and ether. And we also do have our subtle body, which is made up of 3 subtle components. These 3 subtle components are mind, intelligence and ego. So these 3 subtle component, it is said it is a covering over the soul. Soul is being covered by these 3 subtle components of mind, intelligence and ego. So now what happens is that we have chittam. Chitta means subconscious mind. Chitta means subconscious, which is a huge covering, huge different kinds of stuff is being stuffed into it. That is a chittam. Chitta means there have been so many my vasanas, so many different kind of impression of the mind, so many different kinds of prejudices, different kind of liking, different kind of disliking. So whatever is processed inside us, that is processed based upon what kind of chittam I have, what kind of subconscious mind I have. Seeing one thing, everybody would have different responses, and those responses would based upon something happening internally, and that is what is happening internally is processing of the chittam, processing of entire subconscious mind. So let us try to understand how this chittam is formed, how this our covering, internal covering over the soul is formed, and what actually is going on. So each one of us have multiple ego. Each one of us have multiple identities. Each one of us have, I would say, millions and trillions and billions of identities. And these identities helps us to function in this world, helps us to act in this world. So let's say when I'm cooking in my house, then I have an identity of the housewife. Or when I'm doing work in front of my computer, I have identity that I am a employer. I'm an employee of an employer. I'm a this profile, I'm CEO or I'm director or I'm this or I'm that. Different profiles you have, different identification you have. And as soon as your son come to you while you are working, while you are cooking, then what happens? You feel differently, isn't it? You was in a cooking mood. As soon as you see your son is being hurt by somebody, then what happens? Automatically you start feeling palpitated. You start feeling your heart start pumping. Because as soon as you saw your child, your identity of mother got activated. And for a mother, seeing a child in a difficult situation is a very painful situation. And as soon as your mother calls you, and mother says that, oh, I have not been feeling very good. As soon as you hear your mother that I am not feeling good, your heart sinks. You feel what's going on. You feel so sad. You feel so unhappy. So in a same situation, he was cooking. He was happily cooking. At, at a flick of a moment, your son came, and it switched your mood completely by seeing your son. And your mother called, and hearing your mother, your mood came to different kind of different. Your mood changed immediately. You see what's going on in this. You can add some more different situation into it. Let's say you was working, and then immediately your friends call, and friend says let us go to a party. Then automatically your friend ego gets activated. Or whether which kind of friend is calling, whether she's my best friend, whether she's my okay friend, whether she's my enemy, why is she calling me? And suddenly what happens, your sister also calls, and you start speaking to your sister, and she says, oh, I'm so happy that I found so I got promoted. Then immediately you become happy about your sister. You see, in this situation, in different, when we relate to different person, it triggers different emotions into us. It triggers something different into us. So what's going on actually? What's going on is we have acquired these different egos, that I am a daughter or son of my mother and father. I am the parents of my children. I am the sister of my sister. I am the friend of my best friend. I am a well wisher of my best friend. So all these different egos, all these different identities get activated by some trigger, and each identity has its own kind of desire, has its own kind of liking or disliking. As a mother, your desire that your son or daughter should be flourishing. So that is your desire as a mother, and your desire as a daughter is that your mother should be very healthy, your mother should be all right. That is your desire as a daughter of your mother. It means as a in different identity I have different kinds of desires, and to fulfill this desire our intelligent functions, how our intelligence act at different times. Certainly you will have a motherly intelligence that this should not happen to your son, that's how you should take care, that's how you should say to your son when he's into trouble, or what you should speak to your mother at what point of time, or what you should speak to your husband or wife. So that kind of intelligence is also given, associated intelligence with that ego. So each ego would have its associated intelligence, has its own associated desire, has its own associated mind, emotions. And based upon this ego, our body functions. So these three things happening in the mind, this processing is happening in the mind. And our action is based upon these egos, different egos. At one point of time, your action would be motherly actions. At different point of time, your actions would be employee actions. At different times, your actions would be housewife action. At different times, your action would be son or daughter's action. You see, that is how we are functioning in this world. Constantly, we keep shifting between different situations, between different identities based upon different situations. Now what happens is that there are some triggers to activate those particular mind slice, to activate particular that. Now slice, whenever I would say slice, I mean slice that it is a composition of that identity, of that mind, of that associated intelligence, and that associated action. So you can imagine in your mind you have made these packets. Each packet is been labeled this packet A, packet B, packet C, packet D. That packet A belongs to your motherly identity, packet B belongs to your fatherly, and that housewife identity, packet C belongs to some other kind of identity. So like that, we have created millions and millions of packets in my head. Like that, I have created so many different kinds of packets in my mind, and that is a storehouse which is known as subconscious mind. And now the point is, which identity should be activated at what point of time, what decides. So what decides what kind of identity is going to get activated is your external situation, a trigger. You can say the you can say there are different iron files, there are gold files, there is silver files, silver coins, gold coins, and iron coins. And you create a field which attracts gold coin, so gold coin will come up. If you create a field which is known as iron field, so iron coins will come up. If you create a field which attracts silver, then silver coin will come up. Similarly, whatever kind of atmosphere is been created around me, whatever kind of situation and trigger is outside me, that particular identity will come up. And that identity may be good or may be bad. For an example, I'll give you a small example that how our habits are very much connected to this entire phenomena happening. Whatever kind of habit we have developed over a period of time is interconnected to this concept. How it is interconnected? Let's say when you was in college, you were studying, and your people around you have told that if you are a cool man, you should smoke cigarette. So if you are a cool man, you should smoke cigarette. So then you thought, yes, I want to be cool man, I want to be cool boy, so let me smoke cigarette. Then because of that association of those people, of your friend, you felt that I want to be cool man. What is that? That is identity. I want to be cool boy. And what a cool boy does, he smokes cigarette. So let me start smoking cigarette. So now I smoke cigarette first time. It gave me some good experience of being high or whatever. I don't know because I never did that. I don't know what it feels, but they say it feels so good, it relaxes you, and these kind of things. So your mind captures that experience. Your mind, like a photograph, it will capture your experience of that particular that experience which you had gone through, and your intelligence will know how to smoke a cigarette. No, there are different ways you can smoke a cigarette, and that particular technique how to maximize your enjoyment by smoking a cigarette will be your kind of intelligence, or how to acquire that cigarette without your father or parents comes to know. That is intellectual work, isn't it? How you should intellectually uh, earn money for that, keep money for that, and do in such a way that it is being not shown to any other people. You are not caught. That's the intelligence which is associated with that mind slice. So identity is of a cool boy. Mind, oh, it feels so good, and your intelligence is functioning how to acquire it and how not to get caught. So based upon these three things, you have this packet of a smoker, and every time you see a cigarette, that smoker identity surface up. Or as soon as you see situation which is troubling you, and in which you feel, oh, this situation can be counteracted by smoking, so smoking identity will trigger up, and you will lit a cigarette, and you will be happy, and you will be able to relieve yourself from that pain which you are experiencing. So that is why we drink cigarette, right? We smoke cigarette, right? To be able to come out of that pain, immediate pain. And if you keep doing it multiple times repetitively, it becomes very strong. You see, it is just like going, you put one small life into that, you make this dough of wheat, dough of, we make chapati dough, and you just put one small grave with a knife on the surface of the dough. You will see it is have created a small little groove. So if you put one more time, the groove would have become more deeper. If you put one more time, the groove will become even more deeper. If you keep on, creating, keep on putting the knife on the same path, it will keep becoming deeper, deeper, and deeper. Similarly, in our mind also, the same mind slice you keep activating many times, it keeps becoming stronger, stronger, and stronger. You see what's going on? See, our habit is associated with this concept of mind slice. So if we have to, now the point is, how do we break them? You can break them the way you started it. And how you can, there's a concept known as diffuse atrophy. You made that habit by using it multiple times, and you can remove that habit by not using it at all. There is a concept of diffuse atrophy they use in medical science. It means if you don't use certain thing for a for a period of time, its strength starts reducing. They say if you don't stop using muscles for some time, then your muscles will stop work. Slowly that muscles will shrink and will stop working. If you don't walk for so many number of years, you are on the bed, then you lose the capability of walk. Your muscles of leg will not be capable enough to help you walking. Similarly, each identity is thriving, is continuing because we are using it. If we stop using it, then what happens? Automatically that breaks. Automatically that habit breaks. So now the point is, for that to stop, it requires very strong conviction. So why should I stop it? Let's say uh, you want to stop consuming sugar, white sugar, and you are very addicted to sugar. So you cannot stop it just like that. It is giving you so nice taste. It is happy. It is making you so happy. But as soon as you hear your doctor that if you don't, you are having diabetes now, if you don't stop eating sweets, then your life is gonna be only for next 2 years. And you have entire family behind you. So what happens at point of time? Immediately you stop eating sugar. And slowly some craving will be there, but after some time he'll become habituated and he'll be able to maintain himself without eating sugar also. They don't die. At the first day he would have thought, I will die with if I don't eat sugar. But same person would be continue living life year after year without eating sugar. Means he has not died. It means first thing what we require is strong reason why I should quit that. Why I should not activate that mind slice. Why I should not use that mind slice. So strong reason has to be there. And I should do research that how it is harmful for me, how it is not good for me, and around you, reading from Bhagavad Gita, from this knowledge, from this Bhagavad Gita knowledge, you should understand. Research you should do that how it is not good for me. Then it will give you a strong back to your reasoning. It will support your reasoning. Then you should keep repeating it. You should keep repeating it multiple times, the same cycle, because you have made that habit by a repetition. Similarly, you can give up that habit by again repeating it. Again repeating that same cycle of coming out of it. So you used the same cycle of coming into that loop, and you have to use same procedure to come out of it. Reason, there should be strong reason. You should do research behind it. You should repetitively do it, and you should feel good. There should be reward. No, you should feel good. Oh, the one more day I am able to keep myself away from that. And why you should feel good is because Krishna is telling in this verse. And because all these mind slices are egoic mind slices. And Krishna is asking here to give up, be free from egoism. Without desire, if we don't have that ego, then that associated desire also will not be there. Then my mind will not be on those desires, and I will not be working for those desires. Then automatically, if you don't work for any of your desires, then you will be working automatically for Krishna. And that should be your positive habit. That I will work, my ego is my Krishna ego. I am servant of Krishna. That should be my real ego. And all your activities, all your desires, or your mind, the entire process that of entire of this entire cycle which we understood should be for Krishna now. I used it for myself that I am a son, I am a daughter, I am this and I am that. Then now we should start slowly developing new mind slice of being servant of Krishna. And that is what Krishna is explaining in this verse. Therefore, surrendering all your work onto me, with mind intent on me, without desire for gain, and free from egoism, lethargy, fight. So, but we may feel very troublesome sometimes. It's very tough process, to be able to handle my old habits and to be able to feel good. That I have to chant my rounds. I have to 16 round or 4 round or 8 round, whatever rounds I am chanting. It is a pleasure for my ego of being a servant of Krishna. I should feel good about it. That I am. As soon as you see chanting bag, as soon as you start chanting, you should feel I am going to give pleasure to Krishna now. That identity of yours should activate. As soon as that identity of yours activates, and automatically your mind will work accordingly, and your intelligence also will see that how do I find time for my chanting, how do I find for my time for my reading. So at one hand we should start developing our positive mind slices by centered around ego that I am servant of Krishna. At the same time, slowly I should use the concept of diffusing atrophy by diffusing all those old mind slices. And slowly what will happen is, as your mind slice of Krishna servant is shining up and all this is reducing, you will see how wonderfully you are getting transformed. So as a light is being blocked by so many obstacles, by so many opaque objects and light is not able to come out. If you remove those opaque objects, you will see a bright shine, bright light is coming up. Similarly, your soul's shining, your soul's real shyness will shine upon this body if you are able to get rid of all those different mind slices, because it is blocking that white light, that shyness of soul is being blocked by these different mind slices. And the moment you stop, picking up one, removing it, picking up one, removing it by the help of Krishna, you will see to that degree your everything will shine up in your life. You're starting from your body to your life itself. So that is what Krishna's instruction in this world. We can discuss more about it, and but we don't have time. So we'll conclude here. So if anybody have any doubts, any questions, we can take that.